So this is a huge deal for me because my son would not go outside. And now he's like, I had to like gradually get him into going outside. So we went from just going outside walking to going to like parks and stuff. And now the furthest I could get him was like set, right? And this is a big deal for me because he actually went into the sun. Now, I know that might not be a big deal, but it took a lot to get him here. It took a whole lot. Because it used to be when I would bring him outside, he'll flip out. And then, if I take him to the park, he'll just cry until we leave. And then, he started being cool. As long as he was in the shade, he was all right. But now we're at a point where he's actually going out for the first time. He got out of the little wagon that I put them in over here. Got out of this wagon, and now he just goes and play on his own, which that's huge for me because, man, I used to worry. Like, my daughter, she over here, she's doing her thing. She's always doing her thing. My son, not so much. It was like, as long as you don't bother him, he'll just sit in his own little corner. And that used to really upset me because I felt like, everybody's talking about, like, at the time, it was a big deal, autism. Everybody was talking about autism this and autism that. And I didn't think he had it, but I started to realize also that I'm not really used to boys. Like, you know, um, especially with, my upbringing, it's usually girls are able to be like expressive. If a boy is expressive, then he's being bold or he's talking out of turn or whatever. It's very authoritarian when it comes to boys, right? And so, I just felt like, I don't know why I felt this way, but since I wasn't like on him all the time, I assumed that he would be more free, I guess. Um, and no, like I wasn't on him and he wasn't worried about it. Like he was the type like, oh, you gonna let me stay in my corner? I'll stay in my corner forever. So that kind of worried me. But what I'm realizing about boys is that they have to take time to figure out what they're doing, what they want to do. They're very observant. On the flip side, my daughter, she just jump feet first into anything. She don't care. She try anything, and it's as if she knows that she will always have a safety net. And it's true, she always will. Between me, her dad, and her brother, she knows she has three people looking out for her best interest at all times, right? And my son, he's got that same benefit, but he still acts as if, if something goes down, he's got to pay the piper, right? Like he's got to foot the bill. So I hate that I said pay the piper. Ugh, just made me think of R. Kelly. Anyway, yeah, I was just really proud of him because now he's just doing his own thing. Like this is unheard of. Like just like this is crazy. He's never done this. Like he's never and I think this also speaks to, I know like a lot of women like to talk about men being mama's boys and stuff. Like it was hard for me to like get him out of his shell because I don't know, he was just always just, as long as I'm over in my corner, I'm not bothering anybody. I don't see why anybody should bother me. That's always been his attitude, right? And on one end, I was cool with that, but then on the other end, I realized that that wasn't healthy, right? Because eventually, you're gonna have to speak up. You're gonna have to stand up for yourself. You can't keep looking for somebody to come in on your behalf or understand your point of view, you know? And then I was so relieved when we had our daughter because it just felt like, okay, cool, like, she's here and she's always going to make sure nobody messes with him. And then I started realizing that I was becoming matriarchal like immediately. Um And I think that's how it starts out. Like I'm learning a lot about moms. I'm learning a lot about moms who have sons. Because with my daughter, like me and her, we chilling. Like she's chilling with me right now. Y'all see me on these videos. She's with me when I'm cooking. She's with me when I'm cleaning. She's with me when I'm watching TV. We do short videos all the time together. Like we've always been tight since the day she was conceived. Like I knew she was conceived before I even took a pregnancy test. My son, he's just always been his own thing. He's always done his own thing. And I'm so grateful that his dad is in his life. I say that as if I'm a single parent. Yes, I am married to his father or whatever. Thankfully, we've been together longer than the marriage and much longer than we've had the kids. So, yeah. But um, being able to hear from his dad and what his dad's perspectives are with dealing with him has really helped me a lot because I would go into a panic a lot about things that had nothing to do with this kid's development. Like I kept approaching him like he was a girl. Like why isn't he more outgoing? Why doesn't he try things, you know? Why doesn't he express himself? Things like that. I just kept carrying on like that. And my husband was like, he's a boy. He let him take his time. Like you're trying to push him. You're trying to force him to be something that he's not. And I never thought of it that way because I will say this about my daughter. Like, if she has an inkling that I feel like she's not doing something that I think she should do, immediately she feels that pressure and immediately she adjusts. Not my son. My son, his whole thing is, I'm not bothering nobody, so why should anybody bother me? Which it sounds logical and reasonable, but when you're dealing with people, it's not that simple. So, and I'm also seeing why society is so hard on men too by looking at my son because it's like this was like a, I want to say like a microcosm of the greater picture. Like this mini situation is like I'm like society and my son is like men, and my daughter, she's like, you know, everyday people, you know, who fit into society. And I can see how society is like feminized because it's geared towards females, it's geared towards women. And my son, again, like he's very matter of fact. He stands on his square, you know, 10 toes down, as they say, standing on business, as they say. And to a lot of people, it can be seen as he's being rebellious or even to an extent provocative, but he's just being a boy, you know. And one day he's going to be a man, and instead of just trying to passively go through things and not trying to rock the boat, he's going to start speaking on his own behalf. And just seeing this evolution take place, it's really a good experience.